Costco because I went to Costco today for the first time in years. I order online from them. So I went today to renew my membership, and I was going to bring up, like, the people watching in there.
It's a wild scene. It's a wild scene, and you know you're getting older when that's like an icebreaker, right? I was getting makeup done like a couple weeks ago, and I was talking about a Costco that opened up recently out by me.
Yeah.
And the woman was like, "You ever been in there?" I'm like, "I have been in there." And then it dawned on me, I'm like, "I'm having a Costco conversation."
Yeah.
Like that's the conversation I'm having. What do you think of the layout? Do you like where they have the produce? Do you like where the bread is? Like it's a really, really lame conversation.
It is.
It's a sign of the times. It's a sign of where we are right now.
The people in there.
It's a wild scene.
Listen, you go in, you're getting bulk everything. There's people, there's no rules. Just driving wherever you want with the car, being on your phone in the way, and no awareness. There's too many people in there. I get it. But I had to go take a leak. So I go to the bathroom and I see a guy come out of the stall. No wash. Okay, so then out he goes. No problem.
That's his own choice.
It's his choice.
This is a judgment-free zone.
But here's the judgment for me. I'm standing in line and I lay eyes because I'm going to order a piece of pizza. It's like he's in a hot dog eating contest over there. This guy's gone right from the bathroom, right over the hot dogs, and he's eating them like he's in a contest.
Then I give him a tap on the shoulder and say, "Get back in there."
Well, again, it's his health. That's how pandemics might start, but that's his call.
And as long as he's horrified.
As long as it's not him,
he was Poppy. That was Poppy right there.
I understand that. But if it's not an employee, if it's only his hot dog, as long as it's not the samples, going through the samples, like, no, I don't want that one. What do you got, 3 chips over there? I'll take those. That's when it starts to get a little bit dicey.
Oh, it gets dicey if I want hot peppers and he dips his clean, like bare fingers in there and says, maybe not. And then I have a full wrestling match right in front of the hot dog stand.
I totally
eyes
agree.
On people that, there's not a lot of etiquette there. I had my headset on and I just do my thing. But there was some things. You lay eyes on some people, they just don't care. They're in there to do their thing, and so be it.
We're living in a free society, right now.
Man,
that's the beauty of it. So.
It was a war zone in there.
Well, we got a lot to get into today. The NBA trade deadline is behind us. The Raptors made a couple of moves. We're going to have Leo in here. Jevohn's coming up. Both of them in studio in about 25 minutes to break down the moves that happened, why they happened, the moves that didn't happen, and why they didn't happen. Not a ton of action in the NBA today.
Right.
Which I think is a sign of this new CBA, and it's difficult to move money, and people are trying to line up properly for the future. But I'm sure LeBron James not ecstatic today. The Lakers not really active, and people are wondering what's going to happen with the Lakers and what's up with LeBron. So we'll catch up with Leo and Jevohn, get their takes on all that later this hour. And the Leafs coming off a win last night. The Waste Management, I guess, is postponed. The rain is the weather is crushing the PGA Tour right now. They cannot get rounds in. They can't get massive tournaments. Pebble Beach, Waste Management. These are huge products.
So there's not one ball in the air today at the Waste Management?
They were out there, but they had to call it a day because it's pouring. Like Doogie was telling me, there's a shot of Justin Thomas in a bunker, and it looks like a pool. It's pooling water down there, and it's been hailing. The weather's been awful. I don't think it's much better at Vegas. We're preparing for the Super Bowl, and it's not as if the weather in Vegas has been great. But, we got a good one today. Nathan Rourke will be in studio at 6. But the Leafs last night, that had basically everything you would expect out of a Leaf game.
It's a range of emotion.
It was a wild game. It was a thoroughly entertaining game.
Dude, if the Leafs showed, the blueprint, that was like a Leaf blueprint game.
Yeah.
It's like couple mishaps, power play goals against, missed assignments. Stars show up. It was couple saves, couple non-saves, win 5-4.
Yeah, that's it against a good team. And I will credit them. I'll credit Mitch Marner, who saved them and saved Sheldon Keefe by scoring as quickly as he did after the penalty shot.
Yeah.
And then Willie for closing it, because all I could think of was Dadonov, breakaway, set play. That's novice, man. That's not Pee-wee.
Yeah.
That's novice.
I got to tell you, Hazy,
that novice.
I used to live and die by that play. When we were kind of either in a tight game or we needed one, I would tell Sammy Kapanen, if that's coming to my side and I'm on the hash marks and it's a clean draw and the D's getting it and a crisp pass to me in the wall, take off through the neutral zone and I will rifle one, because that guy used to be able to fly. Yeah. So it is a great play, but when it happens, you're like you just said,
you got to be aware.
In the NHL, you don't let that happen,
You know it, man. You can hear it again. You can channel yourself back to when you're 10, 11, the coach yelling like, last man, last man. He's going. And I'm seeing Dadonov, and then, of course, he scores on the penalty shot. And I'm thinking, here we go again. It's going to be another mistake that shouldn't happen. They're going to find a way to lose. And then the credit of Marner, the credit of Nylander, they went out there and they said, that's not going to happen. Yeah. And that's the beauty of having the skill and the talent that they have, because last night was a perfect example of it. Matthews scores, Tavares scores, Willie's got 2, Marner's got 1, Riley's all over the game sheet.
And then nobody else.
Effectively.
Yeah.
I didn't think anyone else was overly dangerous offensively last night. And Sheldon Keefe scoffed at the idea that we should nitpick who's getting the goals. And he's right in a one-off. Right? In a one-off, it doesn't matter.
Criticize a win,
you scored 5, the other team scored 4.
Yeah.
Who cares how you got to 5?
Right.
But over the course of a season, and certainly over the course of a series or a playoff run, it's just simply not tenable to ask 4 or 5 guys to supply everything.
Not every night. So in 15
night.
games, we'll ask them, say, okay, you've been in some low-scoring, good hockey games coming down the stretch. Things are tightening up. Where's the production from everyone else? Well, last night you couldn't ask it, but in 15 games you might be able to once again.
And that's it's a rare occurrence that all of them hit the score sheet. Usually, it's Matthews and Nylander, or it's Tavares. It was all of them that hit the score sheet last night, which is, it's good. And you're right, hard to criticize a win, because a win is a win. You take it, you bank it, you move on. But if they don't hit the score sheet, that's the question mark. So we don't have to play what if right now, because they hit the score sheet last night. You move on. But I would have liked to see, I thought Robertson, there were some guys kind of dancing around it.
Yep.
I personally thought, I didn't think Dallas played very well. They Pavelski, Sagan, some of those guys were non-existent for me. Now, I know it was back-to-back and stuff, but didn't think Wedgwood had a good night. I thought the Leafs did what they needed to do to win.
Well, they torched them on the power play too last night.
That power play. Number 2 should have taken his gear right off. The first Willie shot goes through him. The second Matthews goal, he gets pickpocket up the wall like that. You got to be stronger on the wall and fire it up. That guy, just check, please. Move on.
Just a great.
You know what? Name. Call it a night and just move on, because that guy, every time he was on the ice in the kill, it was in the back of the net.
As good as Matthews is at pickpocketing guys, I thought right there he could have easily got a penalty for hooking the way the refs are calling games right now. It wouldn't have shocked me if the ref put up his hand right there.
Yeah.
And said, you put your hands in on, because Sagan's penalty on Tavares was laughable. It was just, it was ridiculous. Right there, how he kind of hooked. They could have easily put up the arm and said, no, you're going in the box. And they didn't do it. Probably a break because he's a star player.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't, maybe the definition of a penalty shot, but
I didn't think
I thought it was soft.
Screamed penalty shot.
I thought that was more of a hook or a hold, but you take the penalty shot. It goes both ways.
It goes both ways. Again, the Marchment hit on McCabe was a really bad hit. He got fined today.
Yeah.
When the league comes in and goes, "We fined you," and the ref tells the coach, "Oh, it was totally clean." Obviously, the refs got that one wrong. And I loved that McCabe. He didn't want a towel, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
When you get the bloody face and you're like, get away with I'm not cleaning. I want to be yelling and screaming. I want the refs to come over here and face me, eye to eye, where I look like I've been absolutely torched. And I love that he challenged Marchment. I was surprised Marchment didn't fight him. He's a tough kid.
But Marchment took a number, because when McCabe got the penalty and he cross-checked him in the side of the head, and then shoved him afterwards, Marchment's like, I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah.
And he took,
But then why not drop the gloves later?
I agree. I think
if you're going to go back and forth, why not drop the gloves?
I think it would be a good fight between those two. But Marchment, when I saw that hit, I was like, that was from the cross-check for what you did in the first period.
And then conversely, McCabe got him in the third.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm going to get you back. And he did. And I thought McCabe played with a lot of energy. You mentioned number 2. For Dallas, I thought number 2 for the Leafs, Benoit, was really good again last night. Played a ton of minutes, 22 minutes, 45 seconds, 31 shifts last night. And, there's been a lot of focus naturally on Klingberg and Reeves and Bertuzzi and Domi. But when it comes to Trey Living in the first summer that he had with this team, Martin Jones played savior for like a month and a half. Mm-hmm. And Simone Benoit was a guy that got signed and no one talked about it. And he's
one of their most dependable guys right now.
Absolutely. Like we had the discussion the other day, who's playing up to or above their expectations. I don't think we mentioned him, but he should be at the front of the line. This was a guy, he came into camp, he was probably 8th or 9th on the depth chart.
He had 3 penalties in one exhibition game where we were he's behind the play.
Right.
And that I remember thinking that, there's your 8th or 9th, depth defenseman. He's settled in, good for him. And I don't know if Tree makes 1 or 2 moves, is he come out?
No, I don't think he does.
It that comes out?
Show respect to that guy for being reliable. That guy is not coming out. And he's ahead. To me, he's just behind Morgan Riley as far as guys that would come out of the lineup. But from what I'm watching out there, no way in hell. He's physical. He's reliable. Gets it in, gets it out, and you don't say, "What the hell is he doing out there?" No way.
I agree.
He's not coming out.
It's Morgan 1. I think it'd probably be let's face it, Brody and McCabe are playing.
Yes,
and I think McCabe deserves to. But Benoit's in that top 4. I'm keeping Benoit in before Giordano. I'm keeping him in before Liljegren.
All of them.
Yeah, I think if they add a piece or two, Benoit, ideally you probably want him on the third pair.
Yeah, he's physical, but he's not super fast.
No, it's a meat and potato scenario. You don't want him on the ice.
6, but it's a stretch 6 for me.
He's not playing like one though, Noodles. You're right in terms of his reputation and what he was historically, and maybe what he will be in 2 weeks or 2 months.
Right.
But last night he did not play like a 6, and he has not been playing like a 6. I think ideally, but that means you got to find 5 guys who actually are physical and work and look like they really want to defend and play hard.
Yeah.
Because that is something that they are at a bit of a crossroads here again. With so much emphasis on the big guys having to carry the load offensively, the other guys, it goes without saying, there needs to be some offensive contribution.
Right.
But another thing that needs to be contributed is the rest of the DNA has to be stout defensively, and I think they got to be nasty and mean physical and make the opponent say, we don't really love when Matthews and Marner are on the ice because they might torch us. But we also don't like when the other guys are on because they're going to hit, fight, do whatever they got to do. And, that's what Tree Living's going to have to find here. Yeah. Because they have some guys that match that, like Reeves if he's in the lineup. And I thought he was fine last night for what he is. Bobby McMahon's going to be somewhat physical and throw some hits and go up and down the wall. But you want Benoit, you want McCabe, and any other defenseman that come in to
be physical and play hard against.
You got to make the opponent realize it's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's got to be a part of the DNA come playoff time.
Well, there's got to be a toll to be paid.
Yes.
When you go down their side. Little extra, little cross check, little, punch, little whatever you can. Forearm shiver. And yes, Benoit delivers that. McCabe delivers that, nightly. I think Giordano tries to.
Yeah.
One thing Gio does, I think, as good as anybody's block shots. He's always in the lane, and he does his best to get into the lane. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that you look at that first period. That's one thing that stood out for me is they blocked a ton of shots because Dallas was throwing a lot of pucks at the net.
Yeah, Dallas was better in the first period,
and then the Leafs got better from the second period on. But in the first period, Dallas generated a lot of zone time, looks at the net. There was a lot of blocks. There was some, we'll call it desperate defensive hockey from the guys you were just talking about.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's always a good sign when after the game you have a one-on-one battle, at least one guy on the other team, where it's that guy did not have a fun night or was pissed off with something. And last night it was Marchman and McCabe. On Monday, I guess it was Bo Horvat and Benoit.
Yeah.
You should be walking out of, as we get into the stretch run here and games are so important and points are on the line and the intensity ratchets up, that should happen a lot.
Yeah.
Where you leave a building and you're like, man, those two hated each other tonight.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even mean there's a fight all the time, but there's scrums, there's hits, there's the potential for nastiness.
Yeah.
And I think that can have a real impact on, the way the rest of your team plays. And elevating the intensity on a bench, in the building.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think they need to continue to bring. And
well, that should be a formula to be hard to play against.
Exactly.
And if your D isn't, if you don't have the guys that can just skate, you don't have Quinn Hughes back there that can just skate it out.
Right. And that's Riley that's going to play that role.
Your best is Morgan Riley.
Yeah.
So and Morgan's had a great season, but he's the only guy. Nobody else is skating it out of the zone and going end to end. So you have to be hard to play against, advance the puck, simple plays.
What did we think of Samsonov's game last night?
I love the fourth goal again. That one bothered me. It was a good shot. That kid's a good player on the other side.
He is a good player. But
Wyatt Johnston, he's a good player.
There's a bunch of instances you can throw the goaltender in last night, Hayes, and I kind of had the big picture outlook on the game. Like, there was a bunch of times where I literally said to myself, I don't know if I love this or hate this. You know what I mean? Like, it was like they tied it and then they went up, and I was like, I love this, but I still kind of hate it. And I think you could probably say that about the goal. I don't know if I love that goalie performance or I hated it, but they got the 2 points. So I really don't care how they got it. They put the 2 in the bank.
One save stood out for me. It was Sagan in alone.
Mm-hmm. Where he tried to go top shelf?
Tried to go top shelf. He got the glove on it.
Yeah.
Because that might have been a difference. Like, that could have pivoted the game.
Yeah.
And
that was early in the game.
It was early in the game, and Dallas was getting some looks and stuff like that. I thought that save was really good. Outside of that, it was kind of a routine night. There wasn't it wasn't great goals. Like, there was some kind of moldy kind of kicking around, but it's
a win, and now they got saves off.
I say, guys, put Jones in the next one. Like, let the guy have a night off, man.
Yeah.
Like, don't let this creep up, or all of a sudden his confidence gets dented, and who knows how he's feeling. Is he losing his mojo a little bit? Give him a night off and let him get refreshed. We saw what happened when he had the break and he came back and started in Seattle. Great. Played great. He looks like he might be just dipping, just give him a night off. I think tomorrow night's the perfect time for a night off.
Yeah. There's Saturday. They're in Ottawa, I think it is.
In Ottawa. St. Louis is here on Tuesday, and Philadelphia, I believe, is here on Thursday.
Right.
And then Anaheim is here on Saturday. So that's what your next week is for non-playoff teams.
You got to win those games. A lot of them are at home.
St. Louis, I guess.
They're at home. Costco. And even the flip side of it is, I think Martin Jones did enough to deserve a chance to go in there and try to win and feel good about himself, too.
Yeah.
He goes up 2 weeks off effectively, looks fresh, gives you a good start. Why can't he get back into the battle of a tandem here? We'll see. Pierre LeBrun coming up just after 5. A little arbitration on the show today. We haven't done arbitration because Vladdy won his arbitration case. And people are just dumping on Atkins and Shapiro because they just have not won anything the whole offseason, including the arbitration, where they lowballed them by, a couple $1 million. And the arbitrator's like, absolutely not. We side with Vladdy. And I don't think it's bad blood.
19, wasn't it? Like, he made...
Yeah.
They offered 17. He got 19.
He got 19.9, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And, they lowballed them by a couple $1 million. It's still within the range, but still, that's the number they put forward. Vladdy put forward his number, and, it sides with Guerrero Jr., and it doesn't have to mean anything big picture in terms of the relationship, in terms of how
it does mean you're wrong. You're dead wrong with that comment. If I'm Vladdy... And I know that last year wasn't his best year offensively, but you're thinking, look at the money being tossed around in Major League Baseball, and these guys are trying to screw me over for $2 million per season. No thanks,
especially
man.
If they were in on Ohtani.
Well, they were. Like, that's the thing. If you're Vladdy, you're well aware that.
No kidding. You had $7 billion ready for Ohtani, but you don't have a couple extra mil for me.
Yeah.
That would, honestly, man, that would be something, because I know how I used to feel, that would make me say, just get me to UFA and I'm out of here, because I can't stand these guys for pulling this garbage. I'm telling you, that would be... I don't know what Vladdy's like. I don't know what his mentality was. But if they were nickel and diming me and they had just a boatload of reserve for some guy that's never played for the organization, my only thought process would be, get me to UFA and I'm gone. And I'm out of here, and I'll go play for somebody else that'll hand me over the money.
Well, he's 2 years away from doing that, right?
That's where I'd be heading. I'd go up and shake Ross's hand and say, Smell you in two, Ross.
Well, and here's the thing is that they avoided the stickiness of arbitration with Bichette by just signing him to a 3-year deal. They found a number that they thought would work for both parties over the course of 3 years.
Yeah.
And they did it because I think they wanted to avoid the ugliness of going through the arbitration process. They did not do that with Vladdy. Now, I don't know if they offered that up to Vladdy or if Vladdy wasn't cool with that idea. Like, I don't know if both parties even entertained the idea of doing what they did with Bichette. But in the end, you're right, once you make the decision, this is our number, that's your number, and we're going, then you're in the room. You're smack talking this guy.
That guy's been through it.
I know.
Didn't Jimmy Rutherford have to take you to the woodshed?
Yeah, I heard somebody in that room say, I've seen a lot of players perform in the playoffs, and his performance against the Boston Bruins was one of the worst of all time. And I literally was like, oh my God. One of the worst of all times?
Yeah, that's
And then
harsh.
this lawyer nerd was like, do you consider yourself an expert in hockey? And the person said, yes, I do. And I almost spazzed out, man. Like, the player shouldn't have to be in the meeting. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
This could be figured out. The player, you're going to subject the player to that, sitting there listening to people carve them?
Well,
that's insane. Your own organization.
The question is, though, because, listen, if that's what Rutherford said about you against the Bruins, what do you think Vladdy heard about getting picked off at second against the Twins in Game 2?
I will say,
just press play.
I will say one thing about the organization. Maybe that they're a little bit concerned about this guy's commitment to what he's doing out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They might be like, maybe he's still a little bit immature, and we don't know if he's ever going to get to that Bo Bichette type of commitment where it's like baseball, never stop thinking about baseball, because it seems like the fitness level fluctuates, attention to detail fluctuates, and maybe they're concerned about that, and that's why they ended up in that meeting yesterday.
I think that's probably exactly what happened. I think there's a parallel with, both of these guys, I guess Bichette included, and that of the way the Raptors and Masai handled Siakam and Anunoby was like, we'll see. Like, I'm not just going to give you a max deal. I want to see. And basically that was Masai and company saying, we're not there. Like, we're not on the same page. And I think the Blue Jays are basically telling us that the focus naturally will go to the player because Vladdy's been a part of the organization for so long. And, he's a household name. We saw what he did a couple of years ago. He plays with enthusiasm. He's like a child out there. Like, it's easy. He's an easy guy to gravitate to. And you want to have faith that this guy's going to unlock a Hall of Fame career. And it very well could happen. But it is a business. It is harsh. And I think the Jays are telling their fans, like, don't be thinking it's a lock this guy spends the next decade here.
Right.
It's not. And I would say the same thing could apply to Bo Bichette. But definitely with Vladdy, they are sending signs or giving out signs. They like him. Yeah. I don't know if they love him.
Well,
and that's why they'd be willing to go through this over $2.5 million that could lead to some bad blood.
I forgot about the you're right. You're just going to go to arbitration. Remember, wasn't he waving? Like,
you know what I would do if I was Ross Atkins?
You got to pull up that video. We have to see it again.
Like, he was waving to play he was like, I was safe. Make sure, check the video.
If I'm Ross Atkins, I would slide into the arbitration meeting and then just go like this and just wave and say, that's why we're offering you 17.
That's why you're here.
That's why you're here right now. And to say nothing of the fact that you had like a sub-8 OPS. What did he hit? 24 home runs last year. Like, Vladdy did not have a good year, relatively speaking, based on expectations.
Yeah.
Exactly. But is it worth it? And you're right about the Ohtani stuff. Like, that's human nature. Like, let me get this straight.
Yeah.
We were tracking birds flying out of an Anaheim airport where you were possibly going to hand this guy $700 million, and I got to haggle you and hear you talk about how horrible I am over $2 million.
That's just pro sports, man. They pick and choose who they want to get a hate on for.
Yep. Yeah. That's the truth. All right, Leo Rautins coming up. Jevohn Shepherd coming up around the table. Their take on what the Raptors did and didn't do today. And, again, not a very active NBA trade deadline. Not a lot going on. How does LeBron feel about that, among other stars throughout the NBA? That more is still to come. Pierre LeBrun will join us. Arbitration later this afternoon. Nathan Rourke in Studio 2. We're looking forward to that. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Nathan Rourke in studio at 6. And the trade deadline in the NBA now is officially come and gone. Not overly active. The Raptors were active today, though. But a lot of people in Toronto, I think, wondering, what do we make of the moves? What do we make of the moves that weren't made? Joining us in studio are TSN Raptors and NBA analysts Leo Rautins and Jevohn Shepherd. What's happening, boys?
All good, all good. How about you guys?
We're doing well.
Good.
You guys keeping active today, or
we're staying? we had the no trade clause, so we're here.
Yeah, exactly. You guys are here.
It's a lot different talking to you guys when I'm not by my pool, though. This is
I know.
kind of an odd feeling.
It is. We always know.
We're always jealous, too.
I know. Leo's at the pool. Sam's always playing golf.
Yeah.
Like, Sam literally comes on and will, in between answers, stripe a drive.
You can hear it. You can actually hear it.
But the Raptors make a couple of deals today. Leo, you can start. Jevohn, you can take it from here. Like, what do you make of the moves they made? Was it expected, surprising? How do you react to the two moves they made today?
Well, I think that if you're going to talk about surprising is the moves they didn't make, right? There was a lot of rumor about Gary Trent Jr., Chris Boucher, Bruce Brown, and nothing happened there. But on the other moves, I like the moves, and I think when you look at what they did, you bring in, Ochai, you bring in Kelly Olynyk, you bring in two guys that one is instead of getting a draft pick, you get a kid that's proven himself a little bit. He's developed, and hopefully you can put him in a situation where he can develop more. Kelly Olynyk doesn't necessarily fit in the age group that they're talking about, but even the young guys need some leadership, and Kelly's. He's like a 7-foot Swiss Army knife. You can play him at every position on the floor. He's very smart, great team guy. And I think they want to see how he's going to play with Scottie Barnes, and how he's going to fit in with that group. And they can always offer him an extension or start negotiating or talking about it to see if it's realistic. So those moves are good.
Yeah.
And then with the Schroeder move, you give yourself flexibility, right? Not a lot of people are talking about it, but, we mentioned a little bit before we went on the air, there was a situation when Schroeder went to the bench, and he said, hey, I came here to be a starter, and I was told, and people weren't telling me the truth.
Right.
And that kind of was...
He came off a good summer. He
had
had a good summer.
But he did, but that kind of was...
quickly shows up, and it's like...
But that was kind of buried, though. Like
Right.
it was said, and then it was gone. I don't think those things just disappear. And I think there was some remnants of that, and... Is that the environment you want Scottie in?
Right.
So I think that I could understand that move. And again, it's flexibility.
Well, and they throw Thad Young in there, right? They get Spencer Dinwiddie, but they're going to waive him already. So basically, it's purely flexibility and changing what you have.
Yeah, and you think about it, right? Cash is king. You have some cash going into the offseason, going into the draft. You also have some picks to work with. Now, you pull those together, and you have some flexibility, some moves to make that you can make if you want to. But I look at the fact that you got off of Otto Porter Jr. And, the reality is we have to be real with ourselves as well. Otto Porter has played 23 games in the last 2 years for the Raptors.
He's made more money in his career not playing than playing.
I know, he's playing all the time.
Right, so you got off of that contract at a low cost, and now you pick up Agbaji, who is a young player, fits the timeline of these guys. A 3-and-D guy. Does he need some development? Is he pretty raw? Absolutely, but that's what you would also get in the draft. So at least okay, there's a 4-year guy. Athletically, he has the body, and a guy just from my understanding, speaking to some people at the Utah Jazz, he's a pro. Like, he's an absolute professional, wants to get better. So I think that's big for the Raptors. When you look at some of the guys that remain and some that had some question marks beside them, Chris Boucher, I'm disappointed for him from the player standpoint, because he's a guy that is falling out of the rotation, right? Doesn't really fit the timeline of the young guys, the young core of this group. So if he doesn't play this for the rest of the season and is in and out of the lineup and playing spot minutes, that essentially affects his payday going forward, right? His career as well. And I'm sure he'd want to be in a situation where he could be utilized and help a team. As far as Bruce Brown, big ticket, but he'll also be touted after the season as well. And I think with the team option, now you give yourself, if you're Bobby, if you're Masai, you give yourself a bit more leverage there. As far as Gary Trent Jr., He's a guy that shoots the ball well. He's been playing a little better, but I do think he has to get back to who he was 2 years ago when he was playing on the defensive end as well, getting deflections, getting steals, and had some offensive output. So, for those young guys, there's a lot of wings here right now. Grady Dick Jr., R.J. Barrett, Gary Trent, Emmanuel Quickly. Those guys also have to compete against each other right now because the front office is evaluating them. Now they have some runway to evaluate them to the rest of the season.
Well, and go ahead, Go ahead.
Should the fan base guys just expect a lot of this in the next 2 or 3 years, just a revolving type door where they want to find the right mix, the right players? Like, how long should it be before things are kind of like, this is what we're going to be moving forward with, or is there going to be a lot of these type transactions in the next couple of years?
Well, go back when the Raptors made that deal with Sacramento years ago, right? Everybody thought this is a cleaning house and we're done. All of a sudden, you're winning games. Things turn. Then you bring in another play. Things turn. So I don't think you ever really know what your timeline is. Yeah, it's probably a year or two at a minimum process, but you really don't know what that timeline is based on who develops, who else you get in, what pieces work, how Scottie develops into that role as the guy. So you hope it's sooner than later. You give yourself a window, but, Masai and Bobby Webster, throughout their entire course with the Toronto Raptors, have always given things time, right? They give things time to see how certain guys work before they make a move to change. And and the reality is this. They got lucky with some things after that initial big trade when they tried to clean house. They got lucky. You get lucky when Kyle Lowry that trade doesn't go through with New York.
Knicks, yep.
Right.
You got to have some luck. You get lucky when you make a great phone call, but you get lucky that Kawhi stays healthy and can actually play for it. You got to have some luck to make it happen. It's always that way.
Well, and you mentioned the evaluation, there's somewhat of a deja vu feeling, I think, for Raptors fans with last trade deadline. It was, all right, what are you going to do with Van Vliet? What are you going to do with Siakam? What are you going to do with Anunoby? Now, those were established stars, champions. This is a bit different, but I've seen Bobby Webster speak in the last hour, and he's saying basically the same thing about Gary Trent. He's like, we don't know what he is, and we're going to see. And it's like, well, he's been here for a couple of years. Right. What does that mean? And he can walk, how are they going to handle that? You mentioned Bruce Brown, which he does have a club option. They'll pick that up, obviously. Yeah. But does he have a future here, or is this them pushing work to the summer? In other words, will Trent Jr. have a future here, Brown have a future here, or are they moving stuff to the summer to continue to move?
Remember, one of the things that Webster and Masai always said, that draft day is just a date. I mean, the deadline is just a date.
Right.
You don't want to feel like you got to do everything by that date. So they did some stuff before. You got the draft coming up after, and then you got the summer. So I don't think you have to stress about, February 8th.
I think, the other side to that is, sometimes we focus on Toronto and their front office, but what are those guys yielding on the other end, right? They've also got to bring in something, and if there's not much value at this point mid-season, then no, you don't make a move, right? And you also give this group right here a chance, and by chance, I think, you look at the pieces, you look at skill, but the one component that there's no metric for, and you never know when it clicks, is chemistry, right? And you look at a team like OKC, right? Development isn't linear. You never know when it's going to happen, when it's going to click, when guys are going to mesh. And for the Raptors, now you have half a season to go through. You're going to have Emmanuel Quickly playing a lot more point guard. You're going to have Scottie Barnes playing a lot more point guard. You have Kelly Olynyk, who's now going to probably play some backup center, so you can have relieve Scottie a bit from some of those duties. Now these guys are in some positions where they can really utilize their strength. So we're having this conversation here today, but like you said, Leo, you and I talked about, if you put together a 2 4-game winning streaks during a season, the way the East is set up, you're still within striking distance, right? So now you're playing.
And the teams that are in the plan right now are not that good. So
right.
you're not that far from a couple of win streaks
with capital,
right?
And with picks, right? So this conversation could be completely different in June.
Leo Rautins, Jevohn Shepherd with us in studio.
You mentioned players going out, players coming in, but the focal point is Scottie. So in your guys' opinion, what is his ceiling? He's the face now. He is the guy. What is his ceiling as a potential superstar in this league? Every day, top 10? What is he?
We don't know that yet.
Yeah.
But all you can go is by what you've seen. So you look at from kind of last season when you started talking about his potential role as the guy,
yeah,
to what did he do over the summer? How much has his game improved? his shot's so much better. I think he is vocal. I think he is a leader. I think he plays hard. He did a great job with his body. So you're seeing improvement.
Progression, yeah.
So we're going to continue to see that. And a lot with anybody. See, the unusual part about Scottie, when you have a guy, you say this is your franchise guy, usually they're big-time scorers.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? And Scottie's not that guy. But he's developing in so many different areas. So it's really more important maybe in Scottie's case than, say, when you got a Kevin Durant or a LeBron, one of those guys who are your go-to guys. That's your guy, right? Who are you going to put around Scottie? How are you going to help Scottie develop and become that guy?
His ceiling is going to be as high as he wants it to be, right? You look at his numbers, and at this point in his career, you can compare them to a Kawhi at this point. You compare them to a Giannis at this point, and he's a little bit ahead. But the difference with his game, to your point, Leo, he's not just a pure scorer, but he's a hub that you play through, right? You give him the basketball, he can make plays for his teammates comfortably. He can, use his size to score at the basket. He's shooting the basketball much better. He took a huge leap in his shooting from last year. And I also think you have to put a lot of emphasis on the fact, year 2 after his Rookie of the Year campaign, he took a lot of criticism from the fans and Raptors enthusiasts, and he still fought through that. And now we're talking about a guy that's an all-star. Right, so his trajectory is to be seen, and it's going to be a lot is hinged on his development, and that's the part of the game that you can never project if you're a front office is how hard and how much does the guy want it.
And Shep, you made the point of a Kawhi. Kawhi didn't come into the league as a big-time scorer, franchise guy. He just developed into that role.
Right.
Where now he's a guy, he always was a lockdown guy,
right,
but now he's a guy that's going to get you 25 to 30 every single night.
Now, the difference is he had Duncan, he had Parker, he had Pop.
And that's why I said the pieces around are critical.
Right. And here it's like, Scottie, it's your team, man. Everyone's going to follow you.
Right.
And, that's a different onus for sure. Leo Rautins, Jevohn Shepard in studio. You guys are going to be asked who won the deadline a ton, who lost it. Do you guys have a team or two that sticks out, Jevohn, in terms of winners who improved the most?
I would say the New York Knicks.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
I would say the New York Knicks, and just because they add Burks, they add Bogdanovic. That's a team that's a top 6 defense, a top 7 offense right now. And you're adding 2 guys, Bogdanovic, the 20-point scorer, and both those guys shoot 40% from 3. So Jalen Brunson is going to be working in a lot of space, have a lot of space, move the basketball. I think their depth is what's so impressive, and you could argue that they're a favorite right now with Embiid's injury, with Milwaukee still figuring things out. Coaching change there, bringing in Pat Beverly, a lot of moving pieces. You could argue that the New York Knicks are a favorite to come out of the East because they're a lot tougher. Let's for a second now. Wait for a second.
James
Let's
Dolan.
wait for a second. They're a lot tougher. They're grittier. They have Tibbs. There seems to be some chemistry there. I don't know if Boston has that, right? And everybody would look at Boston as the front runner right now out of the East. Boston can really shoot the basketball, but do they have that toughness that it takes to come out in a playoff series?
People talk about great teams.
Yeah.
Boston's not a great team. They're very good. Milwaukee's not a great team. They're good, right? So the Knicks, as Jevohn's saying, they're deep. They've added. My only concern with the Knicks is Jalen Brunson. He's a star. He's playing great basketball. How much is he gonna have left in the tank come postseason? Because he's gonna be the hinge for that team.
Listen, guys.
Wow, what year are we
Leo
in,
coached
you
me, and
guys
he ran
talking
us into the
about the
ground.
Knicks?
He didn't care. So I don't know what he's talking about.
No kidding, man.
I want Charles Oakley to try and get into the building.
Yeah. Well,
Just be sitting there beside Dolan.
We got to get Oak back in the garden. We got to get him back in the garden.
I agree.
Leo Rautins, Jevohn Shepard. Great stuff, guys. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You'll see them all over SportsCenter, TSN.ca. The trade deadline officially behind us now as the Raptors and the rest of the NBA march forward. Pierre LeBrun coming up in 20. Nathan Rourke in about an hour and a half. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, Pierre LeBrun coming up in the next hour. Arbitration later this afternoon. The Waste Management, I guess, has been shut down for the day. The weather's so bad.
Never mind that
Arizona.
tournament. What about you, Dialed? Did you get things tweaked and dialed?
Well,
And you were making some moves.
yeah, so I have a couple of things I want to address here, right? So you wanted to address your little Costco commentary earlier, Noodles. You had something to say about that.
Yes.
First of all, shout out to Nick, everyone, my guy Ryan, everyone, all the boys, all the girls at TaylorMade. We love people up there. Just heaven on earth. We were up there this morning, O and I. and just hitting bombs. The QI10 is so butter. He took a video. The one I'm not kidding. I was
But
striped.
dude,
So it was a
You
bad
are-
video, and he puts it out online.
That's the
of course.
only one. And what did I do right after that? Be honest.
In there?
The
You
next,
hit a drive that went 300 yards.
no joke, it went 298, and I striped it.
Dude, you got to round up for the
Canadian
story. You got to
legend
say
there?
300. 300.
Okay, but this was a bad drive.
Yeah,
Because he knew I was going to tape, and he knew I was going to say something, and it was, everyone was around, and
Yeah,
it was just one of those things. Anyway, Mark Cicchino and a bunch of different people are going to help you to get 10 yards, maybe, if just
Yeah.
for the to address. And the comments, like, the comments are outrageous underneath. It's like, that swing is fraudulent. No, that swing's not fraudulent. Oh, that guy should be a left-hander. No, he should. There was two guys arguing whether you actually should be a left-hander
I
or
know.
not.
I had to mute the conversation. I don't want anything to do with it. And here's my gripe. There is propaganda ongoing right now. I think O has paid off Zuckerberg. You talk about comments, because I posted a picture on Instagram and some stories. I did a little TikTok video too, which I thought was pretty well done. And every single comment, "Oh, looks amazing. Oh, looks great. Wow, oh, keep going." I'm like, are you paying people
That's
off?
bots. Isn't
It's
that
bots.
Yeah.
It's bots. People out of left field are like, man, that life coach. It's probably your life coach somewhere
Yeah.
in the basement on his phone or whatever.
Buddy, I got to tell you one thing. The one thing I can appreciate the most about dropping a 25-pack, I stood with the driver at TaylorMade, and I'm like, there's no giant barrel down there.
You
right
look
now.
great. You look
Buddy, just
absolutely
to swing.
outstanding.
Anybody that wants to add 10 yards and feel better on the first tee, get to the gym and start eating better, because when you start turning and you're like, backswing, no barrel, downswing, no barrel, and just no barrel.
Yeah, it's a core
But
activation.
the thing is, though, you know how people. I played with a goalie who was 5'10", 242 pounds. Okay, he signed, and they got him down to 200 pounds. He couldn't play anymore.
Right.
Like,
There's
he
a
used
dude,
to
a
his
Swedish
body. He was
guy
used
named
to-
Carl Pedersen, who used to have a pro boiler on him, and he just stood up and he had a barrel, and he was great. And he's like, I'm going to get in shape. Couldn't tee it anymore.
That's
He
what
was
I'm
on
asking.
tour.
So
I-
I'm asking, how is the less 25 and counting for you going to affect your game? Because
Look at
that's
the man boobs got to get. Like,
Yeah,
that's-
but me too.
there's
I got 'em
I
too.
know.
It
There's,
cut like
there's
milk bags.
4 man boobs there.
Yeah. it's pretty, it's not.
I
I
know.
wasn't going to
impressive.
say that. Like, what?
I know. It's like I wish I was going to text Nikki and say, can you edit the thing out
Yeah.
and rub
Can
it
you
out?
edit? Can you
Tight
edit
shirts.
things like that?
Well, that's what you want to. You want to make a fortune.
Put a filter on that.
Man boob filter. Guys will be paying a fortune for that.
Dude,
they
let's
won't.
start
They
it.
won't. They won't lose the weight. They'll just
Yeah.
get a filter that will make them look better.
Exactly.
Start an app.
Yeah.
Man boob remover.
Well, you bring up
Man
Carl
boob.
Peterson. Didn't he shoot like 60 at St. George's or 62? I think.
Yeah,
I
he
think he won
did.
the Open at St. G's.
He did.
But I think what Noodles is driving at is, what if you hit the course for the first time, dude, and you're hitting it a $190 off
Well,
the tee,
like,
your short
yeah.
game disappears. Would you bring the barrel back if you morphed into like a 14 handicap, but you're in shape? What would you do? In shape, 14 handicap, chopping it around, no heat off the tee, and then understanding if you put the
'Cause
weight
the
back
heat-
on, you're scratching.
But the heat is his strength. He's a strong guy. You were a strong guy at 195 when you played in the NHL. You just have
I'll
to
tell
move
you
it around.
this. If I started my first round of the year 7, 8, 7, 6, I squeal the tires on the way to Bulk Barn, and I just and I'll climb in one of the bins. I'll climb in the sour key bin, and I'll live. I'll be like a homeless guy, and I'll try to live in the sour key bin until they
Yeah.
kick me out.
I think he made the right decision on that hypothetical.
Yeah.
We need you to have a good start to the season,
Dude,
We need
everything
you.
relies on it. Like,
Yeah.
I want to walk in everything. If it's triple, I'll tell you what, I'll get a cart sent out and I'll drive the cart to Bulk Barn.
Yeah,
I'm not even my car.
I know. Some lunatic driving driving down Weston Road on his way to the bulk barn.
Yes.
Why? He chili dipped a couple of chips.
Yeah.
He hit it
And
180 off the tee.
The
they would
police
say.
have been called. The police have been called because he was climbing in the bin at the bulk barn on Dundas.
With a TaylorMade hat on.
Yes.
All right, Pierre LeBrun coming up in the next hour. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.